everyone! Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
Alright, pumpkin's all carved. Now comes the messy part. I'm going to separate the pumpkin seeds from the guts so that we could toast the pumpkin seeds later with some salt and garlic and butter. Sounds delicious. I can't wait. That's my favorite part of the whole pumpkin carving mess. Look at that. Ew, guts. Bleh, want some? Yummy. Look! It's Underdog! He's like, I am not impressed. Oh my god, I can't believe you're making me wear a cape. What's up, church? He's not happy. Oh, poor dog. Well, I'm going to drink my coffee, and then I'm going to change out of my Batman shirt, and I'm going to put on my Harry Potter robe and do my hair in pigtails and put on a little bit of ghostly makeup. I'm going to be Moaning Myrtle for Halloween. This evening, my husband Pete and I are going to the Lone Fir Cemetery for their haunted tour that they do at Halloween. It's going to be so much fun. I'm hopefully going to get some video. I don't know. I'll try it. It's going to be pretty dark, but they should have, you know, candle lanterns, and with the movie light, if that's cool, hopefully I'll get some video footage. I'll do my best. Alright? So, I'm going to hang out with the Underdog for a little while, and then go get ready. We are on our way to Lone Fir Cemetery for the tour of untimely departures. Ooh, spooky. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Okay, thanks.
This is like a 40-minute tour, and we'll see 5 other ghosts who've had untimely departures, and they go visit them and hear their story. So cameras are fine, no flash, and mainly just stay together, and no cell phones. And we'll begin.
Which group are we in? This group?
Yeah, we're in this group.
Hopefully you can see, because I don't have my movie light. They don't want flash.
On this most lovely of nights, when the veil is lifted between the living and the dead, and we may glimpse into your world and you into ours. Much has changed in the 109 years since I died, and yet still here I remain, next to the husband that murdered me. Let me introduce myself. My married name was Mrs. Addie Loomis, though these days I prefer to go by my birth name of Miss Adeline May Olenbeck. And here lies my husband, Henry Loomis, who certainly knew how to hold a grudge. We married in 1899 when I was 18 years old and he was 12 years my senior. In the beginning, I truly was hopeful and committed to our marriage, but after 6 years and little satisfaction, I found my affections wandering. For you see, Henry owned an oyster parlor down on Burnside and Water Street. There was a handsome 20-year-old man by the name of Frank Fritz who worked at my husband's oyster parlor. We took a liking to each other and a secret love formed. Around this time, Henry fell ill and had to stay in the hospital for quite a while. While he was away, Henry asked Frank to look after the business. Unbeknownst to Henry, Frank was also looking after me. Our time alone was glorious, and we were deeply in love. Unfortunately, the day Henry came home unexpectedly from the hospital, he was greeted by an empty house. He suspected I was with Frank instantly and threw a fit. After returning home, I feared his temper, but I felt it my duty to keep up our marriage. 2 weeks passed, and though try as I might, I couldn't stay away from Frank, so I planned to meet up with him in secret. What I did not know, however, was that Henry had hired a young fellow to shadow me. On a cold day just after the New Year in 1905, Frank and I spent a lovely afternoon together visiting the water reservoir in the suburbs. Henry was informed of our whereabouts by his little spy and was livid. He commanded my own mother to fetch him his cleaning oil for his revolver. She wouldn't take him seriously, however, and told him to simply calm down. Calm down, Henry did not, and in a rampage, he found Frank in the street 6 blocks from our house on East Davis Street and Union Avenue, which today, as I'm told, Union Avenue has been renamed after someone called MLK, which is an odd name, but anyhow, Henry shouted, "Frank, I have something for you." Frank, facing away from him, pretended not to hear, knowing full well who it was and how to interpret his intent. Henry shouted again, "Frank, I say I have something for you," and shot him 3 times, with 1 bullet hitting him in the back of the head. Henry paid no mind to the children who had been playing in the street and witnessed this dreadful deed as he left Frank's body on the sidewalk and ran back to our house. He found me at home just as I was taking my coat off. The police were on their way, but they were a bit too late. Henry shot me 2 times in the chest. I collapsed and he turned the gun around to his forehead. He took a shot, but the bullet merely grazed his skin, so he grabbed his straight razor and slit his throat from ear.
These are plates that you could order the different plates. And the story is that at the front of these old cemeteries, during Prohibition, the bootleggers would come in and unscrew this and put some boosh, I think they called it, booze in there, and then somebody else would come along and they'd exchange money. So, they just last and last and last, and it's too bad they don't have them made now, but anyway, that's what those are, from Sears and Roebuck catalog. So, I don't know what that tells us.
Although my death was all the way back on January 5th, 1883, I'm pleased to be able to share my story with you tonight. My name is Alfred, last name Yankee, and I moved to Portland from my homeland of Germany with my parents and my sister Annie. the story of my death is really about her. You see, not long after we moved to this fateful town, that wicked man John Murray began to court my sister, and his American dreams and promises began to win her hopes over. They weren't married long before everyone knew about their troubles, and only 4 years after their wedding, John and Annie decided to separate. About 3 weeks after that, I asked Annie to leave her baby daughter with our parents, and I took her to the Masonic ball downtown, so as to lighten her spirits. I left her there with her close friends and took off to take care of some business on my own, but it was her bad luck that John Murray was there at the same ball, and he asked her to dance. The nerve. She denied him, of course, on account of them having been separated. But he wouldn't have any of it, and he told her that if he saw her going home with a man, any man at all, that he would have them arrested, or worse. Well, late that night, after the ball was out, I greeted my sister and her friends outside, and we went our separate ways, Annie and I heading back to our parents' house. And on the corner of 2nd and Clay, John Murray jumped out in front of us with a shotgun, and I heard him yell, "Now I've got you!" And
Oh yeah, dear. Appreciate you coming out tonight, especially after all that rain. Just had a nice little moon peeping out there a few minutes ago. Don't see him now. My name's William Rockefeller. I came west in the age of 26 from Indiana back in 1849, and I was hoping to get rich on a big gold strike. Well, I never did get as rich as my cousin Johnny. You might know him by the name of John D. Rockefeller. He spelled his last name a little differently from mine, a little bit fancier too. But I did find a lovely little town out here that I really liked. I liked the sound of the name too. Walla Walla. So I moved my family up there, and I opened a Pony Express line from Walla Walla to Boise. The reason for that was because Wells Fargo wouldn't run that because there wasn't enough money in it for it. What made life interesting at that time were the gang of road agents around. Now that's just a fancy name for thieves. They rob anybody that they could. But there was one guy, he was a reformed thief, and he became a good friend of mine. And he would tip me off whenever the gangs were out ready to rob. And I'd change my route. Normally, you see, I rode from Walla Walla down the valley, down past Brownsville, and, keep forgetting. They changed the name while I was still riding. It's with Grand. But then when I got the word that the gangs were out, I'd head up through the woods, up over the Wallowa and down the other side. I'd navigate by starlight, by compass, and that's why I rode alone. That's why I rode at night. Much easier to outwit the gangs then. Besides, I loved the night. Nice and quiet. When the stars were out, it was just beautiful. Listen to the animal sounds, wolf howls in particular. A lot of Indians around too. I think we bothered them more than they bothered us. I'll never forget one time I would smack into a camp of road agents right in the middle of the trail. Well, I had to think fast, and I thought, well, I'll pretend I don't know who they are. So I went up to them and I spun a tale about being a Wells Fargo messenger on my way to Boise, where I was going to pick up a big load of gold and cash, and I'd be coming back the same way in a couple of days. Well, guess what? They let me go, figuring they'd get me on the way back. Well, I changed my route after I told the Army where they were. Another time, I saw 4 guys coming down the trail. They're way up ahead of me, and they were too far away for me to recognize, and I didn't have enough time to run away, so I saddled my horse over behind the nearest rock outcrop, dropped my gold into the sagebrush. I went back out onto the trail. But turns out they were all friends of mine. Yes. Well, I had to go back for that gold, but I pretended it was my pipe I'd lost over there so they wouldn't laugh at me. Well, I sold the express line in '64. My wife Angela died in '69 after giving me 4 daughters and a son. Buried her in Oregon City. Had a good life. Discovered a lot of gold mines, made some gold mining inventions. And I think I'm unique out here tonight because of all my colleagues, some of whom you met already, some of whom you'll meet later on. I'm the only one who didn't get blown up, didn't get his head bashed in, didn't get his throat cut, didn't get a bullet in the heart. I died peaceably in my bed at the age of 85.
Jesus, every grief and sin to him.
There
What a
Go on,
privilege to carry.
Just get 100 plus
everything
years.
to God in prayer.
Same damn song. Let's just go and get.
Every sin and every
Get.
Their eyes are Their eyes are really huge. A big part of their skull, huge. If we had eyes the size comparison to owl's eyes, and we have big green.
Wow, cool. Gorgeous. Well, that's the end of the tour. That was fun. I'm going to put the video to an end here. I want to say happy Halloween and thank you very much for watching all my Vlogtober Day videos. I'll see you sometime in November. Bye!